This ain't right. Something weird's going on here.
You don't say, Weasel. Where are those screams coming from?
Oh, shit.
Here we go again.
Hey, what's up, soldiers? My name's GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire. Everyone thinks my zombies opinions are wrong, so I decided to take a step back and review each zombies map based off 20 categories. Each category is worth 5 points for a cumulative total of 100. This is a totally serious review, memes included. If you would like to watch my previous reviews on all the World at War, Black Ops 1, and Nuketown, Transit, and Die Rise, the playlist will be linked down below in the description. This is episode 14, Mob of the Dead, the best zombies map ever made. Back on April 16, 2013, the second Black Ops 2 map pack was released called Uprising. It was released with the multiplayer maps Vertigo, Encore, Magma, and Studio. Mob of the Dead introduced so many new innovative things. First off, the map introduced a brand new feature right when you spawn in called Afterlife. It is used to turn on every power switch on the map, including opening the warden's office, turning on perks unless you fly the plane once, the gondola, and a few Easter egg steps. If you are playing solo, you start off with 3 afterlife uses that will activate when you use a power box to down or by taking an actual down. If you're playing co-op, you have 1 afterlife use per round. If you use a power box, you keep your perks when you leave afterlife, and the only way to get out of it is by either reviving yourself or having someone else do it. You can also have someone half revive continuously as well to extend the time of afterlife. The new wonder weapon for the map introduced was the Blundergat. It is a single shot shotgun that dealt a high amount of damage. You can pack a bunch the weapon at the Golden Gate Bridge, and you can also build the Acid Gat kit, which is made up of 3 parts that can spawn in the cell block area, Warden's office, and the infirmary. Once built, you can upgrade a basic Blundergat or a packed Blundergat called the Sweeper to the Acid Gat, and once pack-a-punched, it becomes the Vitriolic Withering. We also will dive into the effects of the weapon in the Wonder Weapons section. Mob of the Dead also introduced the Golden Spork, which was obtainable through an easy quest, and you can also obtain the Hell's Retriever Tomahawk by feeding 3 dogs around the map by docks, cell block, and the infirmary. The Hell's Retriever can also be upgraded, which I will discuss in the weapons section of this video. The map introduced a brand new crew. It was a group of mobsters from the Prohibition era. The mobsters were Michael Finn O'Leary, Albert Weasel Arlington, Salvatore Sal DeLuca, and Billy Handsome. Their story is very interesting, and we'll get into that when I get to the storyline section of this video. Mob of the Dead introduced the first area you need to travel by means other than a teleporter. You collect all 5 parts for the plane and fly and then crash into the Golden Gate Bridge. You need the uniforms from the showers, rigging from the bottom of the spiral staircase, engine in the warden's office after shocking 3 gens in the powerhouse by the docks, the valves in the infirmary, and also the tank, which is located behind the fence at the docks. Once you have all the parts, you can build it at the ramp on the roof. The plane's name is called Icarus. Once you get to the bridge, a Brutus will spawn, and then every round, up to the 4th round, you will get an additional Brutus. The max that can spawn on the bridge at once is 4, however. Eventually, the electric trails will spawn on the bridge, and you can use those to travel back to the prison. Mob of the Dead introduced a brand new perk called Electric Cherry. Sadly, Treyarch decided not to use the perk jingle that was recently revealed to be disco themed. They removed it because they didn't think it fit the map's atmosphere. Electric Cherry costs 2,000 points and creates an electric barrier around the player when reloading. It creates a larger electric shock with no ammunition or a lower amount of ammunition. For example, if say you have 5 bullets left in your clip, it's going to be a bigger electric shock as opposed to having 10 bullets in your clip, that sort of thing. So if you use it with the Blundergat, having to reload every single shot is going to make Electric Cherry very, very strong and very effective on the Blundergat. Mob of the Dead introduced so many new features, and for that, I give the innovation a 5 out of 5 easily. Mob of the Dead has the best atmosphere in all of zombies. Taking place on Alcatraz Island in the Bay of San Francisco is such an iconic place for a map to take place. Mob of the Dead was also the first map in which there was a distinct sound when you went to different areas of the map. There was also iconic sounds you would hear at the docks or on the roof and really everywhere on the map. Mob of the Dead is also one of those most eerie maps as well and can kind of give you an unsettling feeling. There's blood splattered all over the floors and walls, bodies hanging from the ceiling, and even ritual areas outside the map with candles everywhere. The map is not for the faint-hearted, and I wouldn't be lying if I said I wasn't a little freaked out by the map on launch day. The atmosphere of the ocean at the docks and around the map just adds so much character to the map, and I give it a 5 out of 5. Instead of basing it off of my personal opinion, I did a poll on Twitter, and out of the 390 votes over the course of 2 hours, the community decided that Mob of the Dead's nostalgia is 5 out of 5. I couldn't agree more. I remember building the plane for the first time and crashing into the Golden Gate Bridge. I remember doing the Easter egg for the first time that day with my friends from Australia and lagging all over the place. Those memories are some of the best zombies memories I've ever made. There are some great traps on Mob of the Dead. The first trap we are going to discuss is the acid trap that you can activate at the entrance of the cafeteria. This trap is used for many high round strategies and lasts for a solid amount of time. The next trap is the blade trap, which is located right outside the warden's office. This trap can shred through a bunch of zombies. The last and final trap is the sniper tower, which is located at the docks. It shoots DSR shots at zombies and can really help clear out the area. If you activate the trap and go into Afterlife fast enough, you can also shock the box on the sniper tower trap at the bottom, and it shoots RPG shots instead. Overall, the traps are great, but the only downside is if Brutus is on the map, he can shut them down and stop the traps. I give the traps a 5 out of 5. The wonder weapon on Mob of the Dead is the Blundergat. You can make it the Acid Gat once you obtain all the parts for the Acid Gat kit, and you can build it on one of the 3 tables located around the map. The Acid Gat shots act like monkey bombs attracting zombies. The same goes for the upgraded version called the Vitriolic Withering. Once packed, it has significantly more ammo and it is a lot stronger. The main issue with the Acid Gat is the splash damage. It seems like you have less if you have the packed version, but you can still down if the shots explode too close to you and you're already damaged. It is great for getting through the tight areas of mob, especially in the staircases. The upgraded version of the regular Blundergat becomes the Sweeper, and it is amazing for taking out Brutus even on the later round. You can also obtain the Golden Spork, which I'll talk about more in the side Easter egg section of this video. It is a one-hit knife all the way to round 32, making it the most effective melee weapon in all of Black Ops 2 if you do not include the elemental knife glitch on Origins. You can also get the Hell's Retriever in the Citadel tunnels after feeding the 3 Cerberus heads around the map. Once you get this, you need a bunch of kills with it to upgrade it. Once you hear a laugh, you can throw it at the fire pit underneath the cell block Cerberus head. It will make a distinct burning sound, and then the next round, you can go into Afterlife and go back to where you originally grabbed the Tomahawk, and you will get the Hell's Redeemer. The Redeemer and Retriever can kill a total of 5 zombies per throw, and it is also great for taking out Brutus using the charge ability. The Redeemer can charge 3 times by holding the trigger, but the Retriever can only hold for 2 charges. Mob of the Dead also has weapons that are only available on this map. They are the AK-47. When packed, it becomes Reznar's Revenge. The Uzi, when packed, becomes Uncle Gal, and also the Death Machine, when pack and punched, it becomes the Meat Grinder. It also introduced the M1927 at the docks, which is essentially a Tommy gun, and when packed, it becomes the Speakeasy. Mob of the Dead's weapons are amazing, and having the Tomahawk and Blundergat make it one of the most fun maps to hop on and play and just kill zombies. I give it a 5 out of 5 for sure. There are no special rounds on Mob of the Dead. Instead, there is a boss known as Brutus. In the game files, he is known as Cellbreaker. Brutus spawns randomly after round 5, and also if the players hit the box too many times over and over. Brutus can lock down the mystery box, perks, build tables, and the plane. Each time it happens, it is 2,000 points. If he locks down more than one item in the same round, the price goes up by another 2,000. So essentially, if he locked down 5 things in one round, it could cost up to 10,000 points. He also has smoke grenades on him, so if you shoot those, it can cause a smoke screen in that area. Also, when you knock off his helmet, you'll hear a ding noise indicating that you want to continue shooting at his head to finish him off. On the Golden Gate Bridge, he will spawn each round and add an extra Brutus boss each additional round, and will spawn a max of 4 after you survive for 4 rounds on the bridge. He can red screen you if he hits you with his baton, and one of the most annoying things is that he shakes the screen like crazy when spawned in. It literally feels like you are the triggered meme shaking all over the place. Brutus can also lock down traps when they are activated, making him even more annoying. I think Brutus is a perfect zombie boss. It has difficulty because he spawns in randomly and can sometimes lock down things that you need, and he can be annoying to kill when there are a full horde of zombies spawning as well. Each time you kill him, he also drops a power up, which is always nice when he drops a double points or a max ammo. Insta-kill also allows for a faster takedown, and he dies extremely quickly. Overall, I give Brutus a 5 out of 5. He can be a pain, but it is also kind of what makes Mob of the Dead even more special. On Mob of the Dead, there's only one method of transportation on the map, and that is the gondola. It is a great way to get from the cell block to the docks quickly, which is a great convenience. Other than that, having to run around the map can take a long time. I think Mob of the Dead should have had stamina up so you can get from one end of the map to the other much faster. Using the plane called Icarus to get to the Golden Gate Bridge is a really cool way to get to Pack-a-Punch, but it can get tedious getting all the parts for the plane or the gas cans to refuel it. I give transportation methods a 3 out of 5. Setting up on Mob of the Dead can be time consuming, but everywhere you go has a purpose. For example, you need to feed the dog at the docks with 6 zombies. While you're there, you can also get the tanks behind the fence and also shock the generators for the warden's office part. You need to open up the map in order to get to certain areas and get the tomahawk, and once you get the tomahawk, you can get the free blundergat by throwing the tomahawk to collect all 5 of the blue skulls, so it works out in the end. Building the plane and flying it to the Golden Gate Bridge to Pack-a-Punch is more fun in my opinion than a grueling amount of time Pack-a-Punching like on transit. The great thing about the Golden Gate Bridge is that you're killing Brutus and zombies there most likely with just your tomahawk, and then you can use those points to Pack-a-Punch every gun you have. It's nice because you don't ever have to leave until you are fully set up. Once you fly to the bridge and go back to the map, all the perks will be on, and you can use the extra points you got from the bridge to buy the other perks left on the map that you would want, like speed, double tap, and electric cherry. It seems like it can take a while to set up, but time flies when you're having fun, and Mob of the Dead is a perfect example of that. I give the setup a 5 out of 5. The Mob of the Dead Easter egg is actually really easy. What you need to do is fly the plane 3 times to the Golden Gate Bridge. You need to fill the 3 dog heads and get the Hell's Retriever. Then you need to throw the Hell's Retriever at 5 areas to collect all 5 of the blue skulls on the map. They are located on the roof to the left-hand side on a light, on the telephone pole out of the window next to Speed Cola in the warden's office, and the cell outside of Spawn in the toilet. One is at the dock pole itself, and the other is on top of one of the lights outside, which is easy to get if you go in the corner next to Jug and jump and then throw your tomahawk. Once you have obtained the blundergat, you also need to start the Golden Sport quest. You need to throw a tomahawk at the Escape from the Tomb poster and a cell leading from the cafeteria to the warden's office. Then you go in Afterlife behind the poster, and there will be a spoon on the floor that you can shock. Then you go to the cafeteria and throw a tomahawk out of the back window at the spoon that you can see on the table. Then you will hear the warden say, "I'm coming for you," and one of the prisoner's numbers. Once you have completed these 3 things, you can go down to the spiral staircase and in Afterlife mode, enter 101, 872, 386, and 481 in any specific order you want, which are the 4 mobsters' cell numbers, and then you will follow a path to collect audio reels in black and white leading up to the roof. That is as far as you can really get in solo, but if you're playing co-op, you can then go into Afterlife and ride the plane. It plays some very nice music, and then at the bridge, you fight against your teammates. It's an unfair fight because it is Billy, Sal, and Finn against Al or the Weasel. If you kill the weasel, the cycle continues, and if the weasel kills the other 3 characters, the cycle is broken. This was also the first time that the Easter egg would end the game. I thought it was a nice change of pace at the time, but I didn't really like it at all in Black Ops 4. The other steps for the golden spork is throwing the tomahawk at the spoon in the back window. Go up to the bathtub filled with blood in the infirmary and interact with it, and you will see a spoon stirring the blood. Then you go down to the showers and get kills with the acid gat until you hear the warden laugh. Then go back up to the tub and interact with it, and a skeleton arm and hand will come up, giving you the golden spork. It is one of the best side Easter eggs in all of zombies. Mob of the Dead also had the first ever jump scare. All you need to do is aim a sniper rifle at the fireworks out in the distance. The Easter egg is short and simple, and the other side Easter eggs are really fun. So for that, I give the Easter eggs and side Easter eggs a 5 out of 5. There are 3 different songs on Mob of the Dead. The first is right when you spawn in, don't move, and you will die out. Instead of the normal game over music, it will play Samantha's lullaby and pan upwards toward the moon. It was definitely a nod at the map Moon. The next one is Rusty Cage by Johnny Cash. This song is so good, but sadly I cannot play it because of copyright reasons. For that, you need to interact with 3 bottles on the map. One is all the way up in the corner at the docks, one is in the library spawn area on a shelf, and the last and final one is on a table in the infirmary and the room right before the room with the tub of blood. The last and final Easter egg song is by far the most iconic in Mob of the Dead, and that is Where Are We Going? This song can be activated by entering 935 into the number panel at the bottom of the spiral staircase. And it is an amazing song, and I give the songs a 5 out of 5 on Mob of the Dead. They are all actually really good. There is so much storyline following the characters of Mob of the Dead. I'm going to read that. It is also where Richtofen built his lab, so I'm going to try to get through everything in the timeline that actually relates to the overall story. July 18th, 1922. Salvatore Sal DeLuca opens gambling houses across Chicago. This marks the beginning of the DeLuca crime family. February 17th, 1923. Billy Handsome joins the DeLuca crime family as a hitman. Sal will come to look at Billy as the son he never had. September 18th, 1923. An expert in gambling and rigging sporting events, Michael Finn O'Leary begins working for Sal. March 23rd, 1924. Finn marries Angela Bow, an aspiring Scarlet with illusions of grandeur. March 1st, 1929. Sal writes of his frustration with Chicago's finest. After many years of successful bribes with the city, it becomes clear that it is no longer an option. May 11th, 1930. Sal begins to work with Albert Al Arlington, an associate in Los Angeles known for being a master schemer and bank robber. October 14th, 1930. Finn informs his lawyers that he will not accept a divorce from Angela, saying that she can leave this marriage the day she leaves this earth. October 11th, 1931. After the LA heist for Sal goes wrong, Al wakes up in the hospital. October 28th, 1931. While in the hospital, Al submits Icarus from Mars for publication as a comic strip. It is his 3rd attempt, and it is denied again. November 11th, 1931. Angry and frustrated with his collapsing empire, Sal kills a prostitute. No longer willing to turn a blind eye, Chicago PD arrests him. December 1st, 1931. In an operation against the DeLuca crime family, Billy is arrested for multiple homicides. December 19th, 1931. In an operation against the DeLuca crime family, Finn is arrested by the Chicago PD when his wife offers evidence against him. January 19th, 1932. Al is arrested for his role in the LA heist. May 14th, 1932. Sal is found guilty of murder. He is sentenced to life in prison at Alcatraz. May 16th, 1932. Billy is found guilty of 116 counts of murder. He is sentenced to life in prison at Alcatraz. May 30th, 1932, Finn is found guilty of 16 counts of gambling fraud, and he will serve his sentence at Alcatraz. June 13th, 1932, Sal and Billy arrive at Alcatraz Island. June 30th, 1932, Finn arrives at Alcatraz Island. July 1st, 1932, Al is found guilty of grand larceny, grand theft auto, arson, conspiracy, and battery, and he will serve his sentence at Alcatraz. August 3rd, 1932, Al arrives at Alcatraz Island. January 1st, 1933, Stanley Ferguson begins working at Alcatraz Island. April 1st, 1933, Al convinces Sal, Finn, and Leary that they can build a plane and escape Alcatraz. December 2nd, 1933, realizing the plane will never be completed and embittered with rage, Sal, Finn, and Billy plot to get revenge on Al. December 31st, 1933, Finn, Sal, and Billy lure Al to the roof and kill him. January 11th, 1934, stepping through a rift, Richthofen secures the blood samples of Sal and Finn. January 19th, 1934, found guilty of Al's murder, Sal, Finn, and Billy are executed by electric chair. Mob of the Dead. Sal, Finn, Billy, and Al battle waves of undead as they find themselves trapped in a seemingly endless cycle. April 16, 1940. Richthofen arrives in Dimension 63, where he contacted members of the Illuminati and enlists their help to build a laboratory beneath Alcatraz. April 18, 1940. Richthofen meets with Stanley Ferguson and convinces him to assist with the Illuminati's construction of the Alcatraz laboratory. July 3, 1941. Stanley Ferguson reports that the laboratory has been completed and that the subjects will be placed in the stasis chambers upon arrival. July 4, 1941. Richthofen returns to the lab under Alcatraz where he meets Victus arriving from the empty Earth with the Chronorium. Upon reading the Chronorium, Richthofen discovers numerous timelines documenting their fates and learns about the blood vials. He would later write on the page, "I know what I must do, E.R. 4741. Richthofen enters the rift to acquire the blood of Sal and Finn. After delivering the blood to his younger self and recovering the blood vials belonging to Victus, he returns. Victus is placed on ice to be kept safe until they are needed next. July 4th, 1941, Primus arrives to collect the Victus blood samples from Richthofen. Following Primus's departure, Richthofen learns the location of the summoning key and travels to his next destination. October 1st, 1942, Stanley Ferguson leaves employment at Alcatraz. October 21st, 1943, posing as Mr. Raft, the Shadow Man, hires the reporter to recover artifacts from the South Pacific and Russia. December 14th, 1943, the reporter recovers the artifacts from the South Pacific and Russia. Among them is the summoning key. December 25th, 1943, as per Mr. Raft's request, the reporter speaks to Stanley Ferguson, a retired guard from Alcatraz. Stanley gives a detailed account of the deaths of Al Arlington, Billy Handsome, Finn O'Leary, and Sal DeLuca. This storyline is a 5 out of 5 for sure, and if you want to hear the audio logs on the actual map, I will be playing them at the end of the video. I just didn't want to have the storyline portion of the video be like 20 minutes, so those will be at the end of the video if you guys want to check those out. Mob of the Dead has a ton of replayability because it is a fan favorite map. It is really easy and fun to play with friends, and since the Easter egg is so easy, it can be fun to do as well. I've done the Easter egg in public matches without even trying to complete it. I remember after Mob of the Dead came out, I played that map every single day until Buried released. I never played a single Zombies map that much until Horizon Drac came out. It was the entire reason I became a Zombies YouTuber and will always be my favorite map. Building the plane, getting the Hell's Retriever, flying to the bridge and crashing, everything about it is so fun and something you can never really get sick of doing. The replayability is a 5 out of 5. The gameplay of Mob of the Dead is great. Going from one place to another always has a purpose. You need to traverse the entire map to collect all the plane parts. There are no areas that shouldn't be in place. Like I mentioned before, while collecting the plane parts, you can also feed the dogs for the Hell's Retriever. You can also run around and throw your tomahawk to get the free Blundergat, and using the gondola for only 750 points to go from the top of the prison to the docks is a really useful way to get from point A to point B. The flow of the map is just perfect, and I wouldn't change a thing. The gameplay of the Wonder Weapon and the map exclusive weapons make it even more enjoyable. Sometimes it's really intense with Brutus spawning, and the challenge always adds to how fun the map actually is. The map flow and gameplay is a 5 out of 5. Where else else can you go to an actual iconic prison, Alcatraz, based off the real world to kill zombies in? Treyarch always knocks it out of the park using real life places and events and tying them into fiction. Look at Voyage of Despair. Although it isn't a fan favorite map, no one can say it isn't really cool to be based off a real life event and place and time. Mob of the Dead has practically the exact same layout as the actual Alcatraz Island and even looks the same if you see pictures of it in real life. The map is such an original idea, and seriously, I can't get over how good it actually is. Treyarch always does good with originality, and at the time, it was super original. I give it a 5 out of 5. Mob of the Dead has some very impressive records. The Easter egg speedrun is really fun to do. The lowest time now for 4 players is only 15 minutes and 34 seconds, which is really fast. My record 2-player is still to this day my absolute favorite record with a time of 21:13. I've tried beating it with over 3,000 attempts and still can't beat it. It is really impressive in my opinion. The high round record on Mob is round 228 by Stealth McFilthy. Those high rounds are crazy high. It has the highest rounds for all of the maps in Black Ops 2 Zombies. It was a very competitive leaderboard, and people still go for high rounds occasionally on Mob. I give the records a 4 out of 5. Mob of the Dead was remade in Blood of the Dead. Blood of the Dead is, in my opinion, a travesty. They ruined everything good about Mob of the Dead and just completely butchered it. The map looks great and some parts are really cool, but I would have to give it a 3 out of 5. It's a damn shame. Mob of the Dead's best camping spot is by far the other side of the Juggernaut barrier by the docks in China Alley. That spot is so nice because you can just keep shooting the vitriolic withering and killing zombies at least up until it takes more than one shot to kill. If you get trapped, you can always just buy the jug door as well, and you can also camp on the gondola at the top of the prison, and then when you get overrun, you can ride it down and then right back up. This spot is also really fun to use. 5 out of 5 camping spots for sure. There are a few pretty good training spots on Mob of the Dead as well. First is the cafeteria. You have the shield built on the table. You can just grab it as you're running around. You can also start the acid trap to kill zombies running around in the cell block. It is really easy to go for high rounds doing that strategy, and even running out of the cafeteria and starting the trap after training them works too. You can also train down in the showers, and the next training spot is on the Golden Gate Bridge. This spot is very common as you can rack up a bunch of points for perks and pack punch, and since you get so much for killing Brutus, it is really easy to get a ton of points. I give the training spots a 5 out of 5 on Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead is a fun map to play co-op, especially because of the Easter egg. The last step pits you up against your teammates, which is one of the best Easter egg steps as well. Since the Easter egg is so easy and fun to do, it is a good map to play co-op. One player can also get the Blundergat out of the box, so 2 people can have it when one gets a free version, making it even more enjoyable as opposed to a map like Dire Eyes that only has 1 Sliquifier. Since there are different areas to train and camp, it can be fun just chilling and killing zombies with friends. I give co-op a 5 out of 5. Mob of the Dead is a great map to play solo. It is really fun to play at your own pace and really take in the map and enjoy it. You can plan ahead exactly what you want to do, what guns you want to use. You can go for high rounds or listen to the entire story and enjoy it. You can upgrade the Hell's Retriever, Pack-a-Punch, map exclusive weapons, and just have fun training or camping, which are both really easy to do on solo. Mob of the Dead is a great solo map, and if it wasn't, I wouldn't still hop on it almost every single week to just relax and have fun. I give it a 5 out of 5 for solo. Let's tally up the totals and see where Mob of the Dead ends up. Out of the possible 100 points, we get a total of 96. 96 divided by 100 equals 0.96 points, which is 96%. I think that this is a perfect grade for Mob of the Dead. Although some people won't agree, I think that it is the best map I've reviewed so far. Thanks for watching, and I will try to upload these as often as I can, but they do take a long time to make. With the quiz happening every Sunday, it can be a little intense just editing all day. But now I'm going to play the rest of the audio clips from the actual Easter egg if you guys wanted to hear all of those from the storyline. So let's get right into it.
My name is Stanley Ferguson. I was a guard at Alcatraz from 1933 to 1942. Today, I'm going to give you some insight into one of the more interesting tales of the prison's history. Over the decades, Alcatraz has seen more than its fair share of daring escape attempts. However, few were as audacious as the one undertaken by 4 inmates on New Year's Eve, 1933. Thought to be the brainchild of an inmate by the name of Albert Arlington, the outrageous scheme was as unlikely as its mastermind. It's believed that Arlington, aka the Weasel, somehow convinced 3 other inmates that he had devised a foolproof plan to escape the rock. It was a plan that would see them literally taking to the skies on a makeshift aircraft of Arlington's own design. Just how the Weasel managed to convince these hardened criminals that such a plan was even possible remains a mystery to this day. What is known is that no such plane was ever built. Instead, the group's plans for freedom soon descended into bitter argument and infighting. With the plan falling apart, anger and frustration would ultimately lead to a brutal altercation between the misguided Arlington and his former co-conspirators. Armed only with makeshift weapons, Finn O'Leary, Sal DeLuca, and Billy Handsome lured the unsuspecting Arlington to the roof, where they intended to exact a bloody and violent revenge. And so it was here, beneath the dark and stormy winter skies, that the hapless Arlington met his grisly end, bleeding to death on the cold concrete roof. For their participation in the murder, the 3 collaborators were sent to death by electric chair. Justice came swiftly. On the morning of January 19, 1934, the execution order was carried out.